Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming. This is our annual budget hearing, joint meeting between the School Committee, Board of Selectmen, and the Finance Committee. Thank you all for coming. We meet every year like this to go over the superintendent's proposed budget. We'll be hearing from the public after this, and the school committee will be voting next week on this. And with that, I'll leave it to Superintendent Dr. Shaver-Hood.
Thank you very much. Good evening, and we appreciate you coming this evening to our open hearing. We would like to share some of the process of the budget development. But before doing so, I would like to thank the principals, the central office staff, the directors, the town administrator, and the town offices for all of their help as we have developed our budget. You've received the budget book, and the book includes the evidence of our continued growth, which was reported by the Department of Education. We've identified some priorities, the key considerations, information from each school and department. We've included demographic information, staff numbers, job classifications, and would like you to know that this budget has gone through many drafts. Everyone has worked very hard to be able to present this information tonight. So the presentation will talk briefly about the process, where we began, how we arrived at where we are tonight, and the final budget will be presented tonight, will be brought before the school committee for a vote next week. So if you have questions, we're more than happy to answer them. Yes.
We actually have to call our meeting to order because we've got a quorum now.
Okay.
I apologize. Go
All right.
ahead.
Okay, call to order.
Just calling our meeting to order, and I'm going to nominate Peter as clerk pro tem.
Okay.
This-
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Reserve that. Okay.
Thanks.
And is the Finance Committee all set?
Yes, we're all set for now. We do have a quorum. We do not have a quorum.
Okay, thank you.
As of October 1st, our enrollment is 2,133. Students are considered first and foremost when we begin budget development. Our student demographics include 26% special education, the state average is 18%, 60.7% high needs, 50.8% economically disadvantaged. In the last 5 years, students have grown academically, socially, emotionally, and have defied all odds. As we look at our staff, it is important to note that our teachers, guidance counselors, social workers, psychologists, and related service providers are all highly qualified. Paraprofessionals expertly support various accommodations and support teachers and students. All of those working with our students continue to enroll in advanced educational courses, attend various professional development offerings, form strong relationships with students, and are available to help. They care about our students. Our custodial staff make sure that our students and staff are provided with a safe and clean environment for teaching and learning. Often, the clerical staff are the first people seen when one visits our schools. They are friendly and professional. Our bus drivers and monitors support students so that they can arrive to school and return home safely. Food Services offers nutritious meals to help sustain the necessary energy students need to learn. Our nurses support all students and their families by assisting in improving, maintaining, and preventing illness. They are also visited often by students that might just need a little pick-me-up. Administrators and school leaders are the keepers of the vision and do everything they can to support all stakeholders.
The major budget drivers in our budget would be salaries. There we go. All right, this amount reflects the number of the staff members' salaries that we presently have for next year. So if everybody rolled into next year, this would be the salary amount that would be in our budget. During our initial budget workshop, the principals and directors identified what staff they would need to help students improve and move forward, both socially and academically. These were the initial requests that our principals and directors asked for. Unfortunately, this list did not make it into the budget that you will see the final budget number. This slide will break down the staff members in the $24,990,749. As one would expect, the classroom teachers make up 68.5% of our total salary amount.
Excuse me, Madam Superintendent,
Yes.
can I ask for a moment of pause?
Yes.
I'm sure it's well-intentioned, but it's rather uncomfortable for us to hear, listen to you and to see the presentation. So give us a moment and allow us to move on.
Oh,
to the
yeah,
audience, please.
of course. The chairs are probably more comfortable out there as well.
Thank you very much for your time.
And while you guys are doing that, I'll just mention that Ms. Morgan couldn't be with us tonight, car trouble. Her husband's car trouble.
Again, my apologies, thank you for the.
No problem. What we know right now today is the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education visited Wareham Public Schools in December last year to complete a comprehensive district review. They were on site for 4 days. They did approximately 40 hours of interviews with 55 stakeholders. They visited all of the schools, observed 93 classrooms, reviewed numerous documents before, during, and after the visit. This is some of what they reported and published. Under leadership and governance, district and school leaders have a collaborative working relationship, focus on improving outcomes for students, and advocate for meeting students' needs. The district is prepared to improve student performance, opportunities, and outcomes. All stakeholders use the district's strategic plan and school improvement plans to drive development, implementation, and modification of educational programs and practices. The district ensures progress toward goals. By providing funds needed to address the behavioral and social-emotional needs of students, as well as to improve the quality of teaching, and by strategically allocating funds based on district and school priorities, the district will reach its goal of providing rigorous and high-quality education for all students. Curriculum and instruction. The district has in place well-defined and inclusive processes, structures, and tools to support the use of high-quality, standards-aligned curriculum materials to ensure that all students have access to high-quality teaching and learning. In addition, teachers have a clear sense of content and instructional expectations and the resources available to effectively deliver the curriculum. The district provides a range of challenging academic coursework and experiences that encourage choice, address students' diverse interests, skills, and readiness level, and ensures that all students have equitable access to high-quality, rigorous education. Under assessment, the district has an organized process in place that follows formative, benchmark, and summative assessment results to be collected, used, and shared with teachers in a meaningful way, enhancing the district's capacity to quickly identify students' strengths and challenges and improve teaching, learning, and decision-making. Under human resources and professional development, the district provides high-quality, specific, timely, and actionable feedback, particularly feedback after walkthroughs that is most valuable in improving instruction. The district promotes opportunities for teacher leadership by encouraging teachers to assume leadership positions as department chairs, The district has built its capacity to track and implement its educator evaluation system and to retain effective professional staff and maximize their impact. Under student support, the district system's approach to supporting students' well-being ensures that students receive the support they need to be successful academically, behaviorally, socially, and emotionally. Under financial and asset management, the district's comprehensive and detailed capital plan, along with the advocacy of the district officials, has contributed to the town's support for annual capital improvements and a new school that will help support a healthy and safe environment, which can improve all student performance, opportunities, and outcomes. What we have seen. In the last 5 years, Wareham Public Schools have grown exponentially. MCAS performance in both growth and proficiency has increased. There is a decrease in discipline referrals, a decrease in student referred to for special education testing, and improved staff retention. We have also collected survey data over the last 4 years that has shown strong positive results. Those results are available on our website. Go to the district tab, and in the drop-down menu, choose Documents and Forms, click Strategic and School Improvement Plan 2019-2020. The results of the survey over the last 4 years are available within that document. There have been substantial increases in literacy rates. For example, in 2016, our kindergarten students arrived at 49% below the norm, and currently those same students in 3rd grade are at 71% and above the norm. There was also no summer slide. I don't know if you're familiar with summer slide, but it's been a problem for a very long time, where kids go away and they come back and it's like they didn't know anything. Well, that doesn't happen anymore. Last week, in fact, our 2nd grade teachers were in search for more complex chapter books because our students want and need them. There is so much more than what has been stated tonight that is truly moving our district closer and closer toward the vision set in April 2017. We do know that Wareham Public School students have an amazing future ahead.
When we first began the budget, we put the major accounts in, and we came up with a 11.4% increase. The major accounts are listed. We listed FY'20 and then FY'21, and we showed the difference. As we knew that this was not feasible, we asked our principals and directors to go back and reduce their initial proposals. During the past 5 years, we have made staff cuts, supply cuts, and making further reductions extremely challenging. However, the narrative which the major accounts share, there are very few options left other than salary lines to reduce. Currently, we're committed to applying grants and revolving revenue to the FY'21 budget in the tune of $800,000. This will come from circuit breaker, global education, preschool, and food service by salary offsets. The reductions, when all is said and done, will arrive at 4.48%, $30,751,930. This increase will include supplies, materials, operation, management, instructional leadership, and staff. Needless to say, there will be reductions. As we move forward, we're going to continue to review our budget for all possible reductions other than staff. What we don't know are the funds that we will receive from Chapter 70 and the grants, Title I, Title II, 240, 21st century. What we do know is any funds received will be dedicated toward maintaining our current staff. Our vision and the priorities set have provided our students over the past 6 years some amazing opportunities. Our goal is to maintain the current structures and to continue to grow. So if you have questions, I'm more than happy to answer them, and if not, thank you very much. This will all be put on the website, and now I open it up to any questions.
So I guess we'll start with the committees, and after that, we can open it up to the public. Anyone from any of the committees?
I'm Jim Manise, Selectmen. Why is there such large increases in the instructional materials, insurance, retirement, and others, and pupil services? Just some background on it.
Sure. Instructional materials, equipment, etc. What we have done in the past is whenever there's going to be free cash, we have deleted those accounts because that's what we can purchase when we have the available cash through the town, when it's voted by the town. We also have some paybacks that we must do with food service insurance. 7 years ago, the state said that we had to pay back X amount of dollars, so every year we have to pay approximately this year is 120 something, 28. Next year will be approximately 143,000, so that's in it. There was also, we have leases with some cars that or vans that we purchased. That was not in the budget. Placed in the budget last year. We've placed it in this year. What other lines did you have questions on? Did I cover it?
I think you are under the insurance, retirements, and others. I think you answered that. There's a couple of years you had to catch up on insurance coverage for your cafeteria workers, some paybacks. And sounds like you're catching up with 2 in this 1 year?
I'm sorry, catching up with what?
For 2 years of...
No, we just put it in the budget this year. It was not placed in the budget last year for this year, so we've had to find it someplace else, so we made sure it was placed in the budget.
Okay, I just, again, I was just looking for some background on the areas that had the large percentage increases.
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Anyone else on the committees? Seeing, Ms. Rossi.
I just am looking for clarification on where it says programs with other school districts, what that includes.
Programs with other school districts, that is out-of-district students. It is Bristol Aggie, private schools, when we send our out-of-district students.
So that's the school choice number?
No, that is not the school choice.
Is the school choice is included in that?
No, we do not pay school choice. That comes before we receive the money.
Okay, so it would be
This-
I didn't know that we paid for private if students went to
Special
private.
education.
Special education private, thank you.
Mhm.
And that number's gone down because we're sending less kids, right? Because we're keeping more kids in-house.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Question.
Sure. You have to go into a microphone, I think.
I can talk loud.
Sorry.
Good evening. Could you talk again about the school revenue contribution of $800,000? What that is, and how's it compared to last year?
And could you just state your name for the record, please?
Jerry Stefanski,
Thank you.
Finance Committee.
Yes.
Last year, we had targeted about $750,000 that we were going to put toward the budget. Unfortunately, we were not able to do that because we needed to take care of some expenses that we did not anticipate. So what happens is, because of our students that we send out of district, we receive a reimbursement from the cost that we send, that it cost us to send out. So we're projecting that we are going to receive approximately $600,000 to $700,000, and we've put a chart in that in the budget booklet that shows historical figures. It's a 2-year, so we can receive it this year, but we have to spend it next year. The money that we receive next year, we can either spend or we can save and roll it into the other year. This year, we've received approximately $697,000. We anticipate that we will use approximately $250,000 out of this year's money that we receive. We'll be able to roll more money forward. Along with that, plus money that we will receive next year, will make up a chunk of that $800,000. We also host exchange students, and for every exchange student that we host, we receive approximately $13,000 and some change. Over the last couple of years, because of the number of students that we've had come to us, we've built that fund up enough to help offset in this budget. The food service, we're able to deduct a portion of one's salary if they are directly involved in food service. So our principals, when they oversee some of the food service, the lunchroom activities, we can take a small portion from their salary from the food service account. So when we put all of this together, we're anticipating approximately $800,000 that we can help contribute toward our budget.
Jerry Stefanski again. This rollover amount, is that the circuit breaker you're talking? Circuit breaker, okay. How much do you have in, is the circuit breaker like a reserve that you can roll over to next year, save a little anticipation of, or for unanticipated expenses?
Correct.
Okay. After using the amount that you have in that $800,000 amount, how much roughly do you have on left over in reserve?
Sure. Our goal would be to keep at least $200,000, just because one move-in could exhaust $200,000.
Thank you.
Yes, Bernie Vision, Chairman of the Finance Committee. In your major accounts, I noticed that there's some significant increases. Now, your student population is gradually going downward. However, in the first one, administration, you have a 15% increase that you're requesting. If you are reasonably stable at the very least in your population, you're increasing your administration, your classroom, specialist teachers, significant 12%. Your other teaching services are up 25%, and your instruction materials significantly up 50%. How do you rate those increases? What are the purpose of them?
Well, when you look at the major accounts, when you look at administration, there are other things included in the account other than just administration. For instance, there's clerical included in there, there's some supplies, and so while this says administration, there's a group of funds that go together to make this. And so it's not all, we're not adding anyone. In fact, we would look at reducing a staff person in that group. As far as the classroom teachers and specialists, we have experienced staff, we have step and lane, we have other contractual obligations that go into salary amounts, and we can give you the listings when we do the line item budget. but there are many different things that go into each of the major accounts other than just salaries. Again, with the supplies and materials, we had to reduce our supply and material accounts significantly this year, so we are trying to play catch up a little bit, and this is what we need to move ahead.
Could I just offer, so the percentages that you are referencing are not off of the schedule that shows the budget with reductions. You're looking at a version, the percentages aren't on that, but if you look at this packet, it's the inside page.
Page 13,
No, page 38.
38.
Page 38 is the final proposal. The earlier one was an earlier version. So go to page 38.
So there's two versions within this package?
Yes.
We did a,
So
You-
originally.
You
this
can give him Miss
started,
Morgan's if you want.
first
well,
round,
It's in the one that he's got.
and then we took it down. So page 38 will be our final budget proposal.
And the percentages are much.
38 is your pie chart.
You can take that,
I have that.
It might be, the page numbers might be different just
Yeah.
because of printing. Flip that over. There it is.
Okay. Okay, I was looking at, obviously looking at a totally different chart.
Right.
We did it that way, so you could see the process, sort of, you could actually see what we went through. So when we met with people originally, and then what that looked like, and then as we got back together, we just wanted to show through that process what we've done to date.
It's how we've done it for at least the last 2 years.
Thank you.
Anyone else on the committees? All right. Anyone from the public? Oh,
Well,
Ms.
I'd-
Ms.
I'd-
Bakayaki.
I don't have a question, I just had a comment. One of them, either the superintendent or the assistant superintendent alluded to the fact that this process started with an all-day budget hearing that a lot of us were at. And at that point, the principals and the directors were asked to come to us and tell us what they needed going forward to supply students, with everything they needed to be successful. And unfortunately, none of what they asked for made it into any version of the budget that's in this packet, the beginning version or the ending version. So I just wanted to say, I can only speak for myself, not the whole committee, but your effort was not in vain. It was heard, and, we'll work as hard, or I'll work as hard as I can to make sure that you have everything. I feel like you worked so hard to come to that meeting, and you work hard to study and to know what you need, and now it looks like it wasn't listened to, and it was. So I just wanted to make sure that you all knew that. Thank you.
Anyone else? Sure, go ahead.
Hello, Dave Hurd, Finance Committee. I believe in 2017 there was a reserve fund set up of $400,000. And what is the status of that right now, and how are you funding it this year?
I believe it was 200,000 for special education. 200, yes, we accessed 100,000 in this, as we closed out last year's budget. There's still 100,000 remaining that has not been requested.
Anyone else? Want to open it to the public, if anyone from the public wishes to address the committees? Seeing none, I guess I'll just have a question myself, or a comment, I suppose. So as was mentioned, there was, we're not getting the additional staff that the principals had wanted, And we're gonna be looking at, with this budget as is, if nothing changes, we're gonna be looking at some reductions. And I think Dr. Schwam did a really good job of explaining the progress that we've made so far and the progress we're making. And as I like to say, it's not just anomalies. These are not just one-offs. We're making some real systemic progress now. Things are really, really looking up, especially K through 3, and the middle school is doing great. A lot of things are really, really turning around and improving, and I don't want to risk that. So I guess with that budget as is, with those reductions, what would be the impact to that progress?
We're very concerned. If, as we move forward, the number of staff that could be reduced, we could reach 15 across the levels. And that's why we're desperately looking for every other possible option. The progress that we've seen, the work that our teachers are doing and our staff are doing is making some amazing things happen for students. And we are looking to do anything we can to preserve that.
Ms. Rossi.
Is any part of, I know that the recent education legislation that just passed is going into funding all of the schools in the state. Not sure what our percentage is exactly. I do believe it was posted on the Massachusetts website, but is any of that included in this budget, and what would that be used for when we get it?
Right now, we've not included anything just because we're not really sure what's going to actually come to us. But again, anything that we save, we will put back, we will recommend to the committee to put back into staffing.
And now this budget as well, we just lost something. There we go. This budget as well, correct me if I'm wrong, includes no capital.
No, you're correct. No capital.
Yeah, so there's no capital, and in the past, we've used our operating budget to fund some capital, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So for example, this past year, what have we funded?
This past year, we have funded new bleachers at the high school because they were as old as the building. We have put HVAC in our cafeteria at the middle school. That was done mainly because of safety concerns with the humidity and students slipping, etc. We have put quite a bit of money in HVAC at the high school. We still have a number of areas that we need to work on there. We've addressed issues of HVAC at the middle school. We have looked at providing some plumbing and carpet, floors, new flooring. Fields and grounds, we redid the softball field. We have also looked at doing some upgrading with our track. So yes, anything that we can possibly do, we put an investment
Thank you,
in.
that was a pretty good recollection. So just to bring the point home, I mean, these are capital items that we've been paying out of our operating budget. We never really should do it that way, but that's what we have to do. The public's made it clear they want to make sure we want to maintain these buildings and keep them up. But frankly, those are items that should go through capital planning, and we're at a point now where that's where we need to look. I mean, this is our educational budget right here. This is not to work on HVAC. So just please keep that in mind, that we're going to be looking for some capital, because the public has spoken loud and clear that they want to make sure we maintain these buildings.
That's maintenance, that's not capital. There's a difference between maintenance and capital.
Well, how about like the track and everything? That's all. That's not just maintenance. When things get to a certain point and they break, you got to replace them.
The existing structure, maintaining it.
I want you to go beyond a certain dollar figure. Isn't it capital?
No, we're purchasing something.
Well, we won't be able to maintain then, I guess is what I'm trying to say. This is strictly for education.
What I would say would be, we certainly do appreciate the money that the town has given us for purchase of the bus. In fact, we just processed the purchase order for a brand-new bus yesterday. Today, we processed the purchase order for a Kubota because we need to be able to plow around our schools, and we also will help the town with the plowing around Town Hall with that Kubota. In conjunction with the Dave Menard's crew, we're purchasing this object that will take the snow off all buses and municipal vehicles. So we do appreciate that we have the working relationship that we do, and we are continuing to look for, our next round will be vans with the money that we received.
I just have one other comment when it came down to the staffing. On a previous slide, you had that the student total was 2,133, I believe, between all of the schools, and that there were 4 school nurses. And I do know that the school nurses did come and make a plea for an additional substitute nurse or floating nurse, because over 2,000 students for 4 nurses is a lot, especially if there's no backup. And I just want to know where on the, if that would be something that we could absolutely try to find a place to put, because I think for the safety of our students, that's huge.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. I heard the nurses too. Anyone else?
I just wanted to note that you talked about the track, so we should acknowledge that we were fortunate enough to go through the process with the CPC, and at town meeting, we were, they voted favorably for the money to put towards the track. So
absolutely.
We do appreciate that.
Yeah.
So there is collaboration between the town and the schools, and we do appreciate it.
Oh, and I wasn't suggesting there wasn't.
No. I just want to make sure that, we acknowledge that, because we appreciate that. It was a process, and, yeah.
I just remember when being on the budget committee with Dr. Shaverhood and Dr. Schwam, that we had discussed this, like, no capital in this,
Right.
what we were calling capital. If you want to call it maintenance, call it maintenance, but this is just our budget to educate our kids.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Mr. Titlebaum.
Hi, Peter Titlebaum, member of the Board of Selectmen. I just wanted to congratulate the superintendent, members of the administration, the principals, the teachers, and the staff of the schools. It's actually heartening to see that scores are progressing, that the kids are doing better in school. For decades, the Wareham Public Schools have had, I'll call them reputational difficulties. And, part of getting out from under that sort of thing is improving the performance of the students. And if that continues on an upward trajectory, I think that's beneficial, certainly not only for the schools, but also the town as a whole, how we're perceived, the desirability of coming here to live and work and do all of those things. So I just wanted to congratulate the people who are responsible for that.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, I guess that's it, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't really I see a few people in the audience, not that many. I wish it was better attended, but okay. So with that, I guess I take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes 4-0-0. So yeah, we're adjourned, but the selectmen have to.
Call the vote, clerk, chairman, pro tem. Aye. Opposed, abstained, 3-0-0.